All right, so continuing the fine tuning. Continuing the fine tuning of the floor plan. And this is why you've probably, if you've been watching some of the previous videos, you've seen me say, well, I know this isn't going to work, but I'll deal with it later. And this is the part where we start dealing with those issues that we aren't comfortable with, that we already identified, or sometimes we have issues that pop up as we're starting to work on this. And if I look at this, I say, well, this is kind of a useless space. What can I do with it? I'm not going to reach behind here to put anything. I can't put a cabinet up there and deal with it. So I think I want to just put a wall here and here and add that space to the pantry. So I'll have shelving across here probably and across here, but here I'll have shelving that actually might be a little bit deeper. So if I had something that was a really deep object, a long object, and I could stick it in right there. So I'm going to change that. But then I see that my cabinet here and my refrigerator aren't touching the wall. And so I'm going to fix that right away, just a line here. Multiple is selected, so I can select multiple objects. And that lines up pretty well. And so my question is, what is the distance from the face of this wall to the face of that wall? I want it to be 2 feet. So again, I have to go in and change this. But if I change this, then it's going to change my cabinets. So the first thing I want to do is flip this section and take a look at it. And I don't really have any space. Can't really afford to move that wall, so I guess I'll have to leave it there. So 1 foot 10.5 is what it's going to have to be. Now, something to look at right now is the dimensions, and you notice what's happening here is my dimension has a box around it. You can't necessarily see it here, but if I pull it over here, look at what happens. It kind of blanks out or voids out this objects below it, and it puts this box around it. And I don't like that. So what I want to do is deal with my dimensions now. So I'm going to edit. I've selected the dimension. It's active. And I'm going to go in and see what other options I have here. And I like comic, and I don't have that. So I'm going to say edit the type, duplicate my dimensions, and I'm going to call this comic. C-O-M-I-C, and say okay to that. And now I can change the type of the font. So I'll just type in comic, C-O-M-I-C, brings me down to Comic Sans MS, which I assume stands for Microsoft. I'm going to make that the active font. And then the text background, I'm going to change that from opaque to transparent. And watch what happens now. I didn't change the font size, but now I have one that looks more to me like a architectural style. And when I hover over an object, it's not blanking it out anymore. So the background of the dimensions is transparent, and I like that appearance much, much better. So I'll be using that for my dimension style when I actually start to put my dimensions in. So I fix that. But here, let's do a create similar. And let's draw a wall that will line up with the face of the cabinet. And then we'll create similar over here. Again, create similar, and then we'll just come down here. So now I've got my wall in there. No, it looks like it looks good. Okay. All right, so the countertop can't go through there, so we'll pull it back to there. And this wall I'm going to drag back to here. And then obviously this wall I can drag back or use the trim extend command. And that's much better. So now I'll have a little deeper spot there if I want to put some, if I have some cooking racks or something that are really deep, or some boxes that are really, really deep. And I have a place to do that, to put that. All right, so, and that's one of the nice things about doing these renderings is sometimes you don't notice these things. I'm looking at the rendering and I see, okay, well, I've got an issue here. What am I going to do with it? And when I came back and looked at the floor plan, I really couldn't figure out what to do there. So I ended up putting that space into the pantry, which is fine. Now I want to put my upper cabinets here, but I want to put my windows in first. So I know how far over I can bring my upper cabinet. So I'm going to come over to the architecture tab, and then I will go to the windows, and I've loaded up Kolbe, Kolbe, which I downloaded from Rapid City. They have a nice selection of Kolbe windows there, or you can just go to a Kolbe window site and download their windows from their site. And I like Kolbe windows for Revit. I've never actually used them in a project though. But the reason that I like Kolbe windows is they're very responsive to me. When I see that there's an error in their model, I send them an email and I say, hey, you got, this particular issue isn't really correct in your model. And I get an email back right away from their technical support. And they say, thank you, we'll fix it. And usually within a day, they send me the modified model, which addresses whatever my issue was with it. So I like them from that point. They might, I think they're a good quality window. I just haven't actually used them in real life. But so let's put this casement in here. It's wall-based, so it's going to have a wall to put it in. And there we go. Now it's backwards. This is the brick mold, and that's what the brick mold really belongs up against the rigid insulation. So if I click on this window and edit the type, I can inset that window into the wall by 4 inches. And that's what I'm going to do, is just say 4 inches. And let's see what happens now, how that looks. That's a better representation. But the brick would stop at the face of the brick mold, not as it is right now. The brick mold looks like it's inside of the brick, which is not actually correct. So when they make their void, it really should go to the edge of the brick mold, and it doesn't. So that's a flaw in their model too. But that's real technical. So let's grab this and say I want to align the window to the center of the sink. So that's good. But now if we take a look at the section here, we go to that section again, and see that that window is, it could be wider. So I will, how much wider do I want to make it? Let's see what the distance of this cabinet is from here to here, 4 feet. So I'm going to make a new window, edit the type, duplicate it, and I'll just call it a 4-foot window. Okay, and that means that my width is going to change to 4 feet. Right. And that looks better to me in terms of the width of the window, but the height of the window isn't right either. When I put a cabinet in, I go over here and go to this view. I'm looking for an upper cabinet. Let's grab this guy and say create similar. go back to the first floor plan, and we're just going to put that cabinet in here real quick and go back and take a look at that section again now. I want my window to line up with the top of the cabinet. So at the top of my window to line up with the top of the cabinets. So that's height-wise, that's great in terms of the location of the window, but it's not right in terms of the, there's a big gap here. So let's see, let's measure what the distance is from the top of the countertop all the way up to the top of the window. That's 4 feet. So if I want to have a 6-inch backsplash, then I would make this window 3'6" tall. So let's edit the type and duplicate it. And now we're going to call it 4 feet by 3'6". Okay, and then so the width is fine, but the height is not. So I'll change the height to 4'6". 4'6". Enter that, say okay. And let's take a look at what we have now. That's better. So let's align it again. I might have done something wrong because that window looks too tall now. Let's align it here and here. Definitely it is too tall. I think I wanted it to be 3'6". Yeah, edit the type, go back. It's supposed to be 3'6", so I'll just change that, okay. And again, we'll align it and see what happens. Yeah, that looks better. So now I know where my window is located, and so I can put in my upper cabinets now because I know I don't want to go into the window space with my upper cabinets. So let's see. Let's quickly check how wide this guy is. 1'11". So we'll say it's 2 feet. So we want to make this cabinet 2 feet wide. It is. It's 24 inches. Okay. So let's see if there's a center line. Yep, there is. And then we'll come up and pick this. There we go. That looks good. I'll put a single cabinet above here. So first I'm going to close all of my unused windows. And what's this guy? Okay, this is a preview of the window. I'll cancel out of that. Just close this down and say I don't want to save it. So now I have my section that's looking at that, and I have my first floor. And if I zoom out, I want to use this section also. So now I have 3 windows open. I'm going to type WT so I can see all 3 of those windows at the same time. Not this one either. That's a different project. So let's go back to the first floor here. And let's go to this view. Okay, that's this guy. I have my first floor plan. This is the wrong model. I'm looking at, that's a different project, so I'll close that down. And I'm going to close this down too. This is the only thing that's good, so I'm going to close this down. This was a different project that I had. I have 2 projects open, and I went to the first floor of the wrong project. So let's go to the correct first floor. There we go. And then this is the section that I want to look at. So I'll go to that view. And then I'll type WT, and I'll have my 3 views here. I have my section. I have the view of all of my cabinets. and I have my floor plan. So I'm going to click on this window and just type WT and type it one more time. Click on this window, type WT. There we go. I just want my biggest window to be the floor plan. All right, so I need a single cabinet, grade similar. I'm over here and put it in, and we'll look at what I just did in the section. I'm going to align that. Okay, and then I want another one of these over here. I'm just trying to line up the cabinets, the upper cabinets with the base cabinets. Now this I'll just do a copy and see if Revit will allow me to do that. And let's click on this. It's a 24-inch wide, so that should be 24 inches, so that's good. Okay, so here I have a 15-inch cabinet, so let's copy this guy over from here to here and make him 15 inches. It is 15 inches. Okay, that's good. And then this guy is 24 inches, so I'll use one of these, copy him over. And what's this? Let's click on this. Okay, so I'm just going to put another one right in there. This, I was questioning what this line was, and it's actually the edge here. I'm seeing this edge right here. I'll have to come back in and make this wall a little bit thicker because I want the gypsum board to be flush all the way across. So let's take a look at this guy. He is 24 inches, so I can grab my 24-inch wide cabinet and I should be able to just copy him over to there. Whoops. Oh, that's weird. Okay, so what's just happened is this cabinet now is being hosted by this wall right here, this little piece right here. Let's see if we can pick a new host here. I'm going to make that wall the new host. Let's see what happens. That didn't work out for me either. All right, let's undo that. I can see the cabinet right here. So I'll do a different workaround here. Let's try to copy this guy from here to here. Okay, so now he's hosted on the right wall. Let's see what happens if I bring him over. Okay, so there we go. So what was happening is that the upper cabinet was just being hosted by the wrong wall. Okay, so that looks good. If we take a look at that, if I take a picture of that, let's go to the floor plan, zoom out, and I want to just see what I've got going on here. I think I'm in pretty good shape. Well, I do remember from looking at the rendering that the dishwasher was a little bit too far in the back. Yeah, so I want to pull that dishwasher out. So we're going to grab this and align the back of the dishwasher with that wall. Okay, so that'll look better now. So we'll go back to the floor plan. Some of the other things, I still haven't decided what to do here. I was thinking maybe I'll bring this archway back here so that you don't really feel like you're walking into the kitchen to go on the stairs. But that might mess up. If I decide to put a door here, that would possibly mess up that door. So I'm still going to leave that alone. Otherwise, I like what I'm seeing so far. So let's take a look here. Put the camera in. And you can see what we're seeing up above are the walls above because I haven't put a ceiling in there yet. So we don't really need to see that right now. And I'll just widen this view a little wider here and here. Type the letter Z, E. On AutoCAD, it's Z, enter, E, enter. But in Revit, it's just ZE to zoom to the extents. And let's take a look. Okay, that looks pretty good. And this is what the new arrangement looks like. I saw in the floor plan that the gypsum board did not wrap around the edge of this wall, so that's a change that I have to make in the settings. And now I can see that I don't have any cabinets underneath my island yet, so I have to do that. And I might actually move this sink onto this side so that I can have chairs sitting here underneath, sort of a little breakfast bar kind of a thing. I might do that. And I don't like this arrangement. This seems tucked in the corner. That might not be real good. One of the options that I might do is simply grab this and bring it over here and put it into this space. But we can see what the kitchen arrangement's starting to look like anyway. And the renderings are helpful because they help us to see what we like and what we don't like in our work. And of course, Autodesk will make these renderings for you as a student user. They'll make them for free. Now, I'm rendering this, and it's only using sunlight in order to illuminate the space. But when I put my ceiling in, I won't have the sunlight coming in anymore, so I'll have to put illumination in the ceiling in order to be able to see this kitchen after I put the ceiling in. And I need to put the ceiling in for the exhaust fan because that's hosted by the ceiling. But here we go. We're starting to take a look at the kitchen. And if I move this guy over to here, then I can take this jog out and I'll have more counter space here, which that will work for me. And maybe the oven would work better over here. So, just thinking about practicality of using this, if I want to put base cabinets underneath, this is 4 feet wide, so I can put base cabinets and put 2 rows of base cabinets. If I were going to do that, I would leave the sink where it is. But if I want this to be sort of like a breakfast bar, rather than go sitting in the breakfast nook to eat, be able to sit here. Or if you have company over and you're preparing dinner or snacks or whatever, you're doing something in the kitchen. Most of us know that when we go out to parties at other people's houses, that a lot of people end up gathering in the kitchen. It's a very popular place, so they might be able to sit here and chit chat with you while you're working in the kitchen. And that's a possibility, but that's things that you'll look at in your project and see how it really works. And if you do a horrible kitchen, it's not a deal breaker in terms of point score. The important thing is putting in the countertop and the cabinets, and the fixtures and the appliances. So I might just leave this kitchen the way it is for the demonstration purposes. But if this were a real project, I would be much more critical of what's going on here before I would present it to my clients.